tonight on The GOAT Show.
Like, if we partnered up, we could do this so much faster. I'm like,
but why not be that person at the club?
That's Whole Foods in Arizona.
You attract these women with a facade.
the hottest girls there.
Just reading the Bible.
I think you can fake it till you make it.
You're gonna have to hold that part up a long time.
Not unless he's trying to get murdered.
Melt the seal on that.
Welcome to The GOAT Show, the show where we celebrate and debate all things great. My name is Zilly, aka Ravine. I am joined by my co-hosts, Fresh and Deezy. Gentlemen, are you feeling, I don't know, are you feeling like you are living your best lives?
Doing my best to live my best, bro.
Always best, bro. Cheers.
Fresh has got that methylene blue. He's feeling that shit. How's that going? Are you feeling all right on that?
Actually, man, like, I don't want to be like that guy that pushes something, but I just want to say, like, I have some stomach issues and stuff like that, and I have never felt better. So, like, it's been over 10 years of dealing with this, and to say, like, it's such a drastic change in my life would be an understatement.
Wow. Okay. Well, people out there, you know, do your own research.
This is not health advice.
It's not health advice. Do your own research. I'm working on getting somebody on the show who's an expert in nootropics. Hopefully, we can get that worked out and interview him, and we can get the full picture of all these new amazing supplements like methylene blue and some of these other nootropics. But today we have a guest who is coming on the show. We'll get to him shortly. I'm really excited. He's part of the MOA crew, the Men of Action crew with Michael Sartain. That's how I know him. But before we get to him, Fresh, what do the goats out there got to do?
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, drop a comment, send it to your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle.
Share this with the simps out there who think that all is lost, they're black pilled to death, and that there's nothing they can do about it. All right, you got to send it to them. Or maybe that's you. If that's you, then you definitely got to watch this video. We'll get to our friend Luke in a second, but before we do, a word from our sponsor.
Water, the source of life. It's been privatized, polluted, abused, and reused. Do you know what's in your water? Drugs, plastics, chemicals, pesticides. But there is hope. There are people working around the clock to make a difference. The solution is advanced filtration that not only removes toxins, but balances the pH in the water. Go to centuryh2o.com to tap into wellness.
And we're back. All right, here we go. Luke, what is going on, man? Good to see you on the GOAT Show. How you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on. Pumped to be here. Saw some other interviews, was impressed, and pumped to see other MOA guys are finally doing what Michael's doing. So excited to get started.
Yeah, man. You're definitely in my mind one of the MOA OGs, along with Tristan and Casey and a bunch of other dudes in MOA. For anybody who doesn't know, the Men of Action program, something that I'm a part of, it's Michael Sartain and his crew of people, their program, and this is how I know Luke is basically he's in that group, and it is from I don't think there's any women in the group. I mean, it's called Men of Action, so I assume it's mostly men, but it's just a program for male development, I would say. But part of it is sure dating women, that whole deal, but more of it is about how to improve your skills, improve yourself as a man, and then also how to make a really amazing social circle around you so that you can attract people, whether it's beautiful women or it's, high net worth individuals, to sort of build your network and do that whole deal. So big reason why I want to talk to Luke is because he's living the life that we learn in Men of Action. Luke, before we begin talking about your whole story and what's going on with you, a question we ask all of our guests is, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I was actually at dinner last night asking a girl about this, and I asked her if you could fly, be invisible, or teleport. She said be invisible. I'm like, okay, that's dumb.
Wait, what?
I don't think I'd want like a superhuman superpower. I saw Limitless, where Brad Cooper accesses like 100% of his brain. And I just think like, okay, great. If I could teleport around, I could travel. That'll get boring after like probably a year. If I could access 100% of my brain and be like, just do all this crazy stuff, digest information as fast as possible, go on podcasts, be a beast, make a ton of money super fast. That'd be what I want. So like, just I don't know, Dr. X from the X-Men, whatever he can do with his mind, like that'd be awesome. That'd be my superpower.
Hey, that kind of reminds me also of that movie Lucy. Have you guys seen that one?
Such a classic. Such a classic.
So basically, you want to be fresh. That's what's going on. You got to start taking the meth blue. You got to.
I'm here to learn, man. I'm here to learn.
Apparently, bro, like a couple weeks ago, I became Bradley Cooper. I'm limitless now.
Love it.
If and when we get a Nootropics Extra on here, I'll definitely send it to you, Luke. From superpowers to superhero origin stories. Tell us about yourself. I detect an accent. Are you from the States originally, or are you from somewhere else, or where did you grow up, and what was sort of your life like through the years?
Yeah, I'm from Boston. I don't have that like park your car in Harvard Yard like Matt Damon, Ben Affleck type of accent. But like I don't think I have one when I talk, but other people that aren't from Boston say, "Oh, it's very thick." And then when I talk to people that I know are from Boston, I don't sound like them. So I think there's somewhere in between. I grew up in Reading, which is like 30 minutes north of Boston, North Shore. It's a very white town. It's like 98% white. We had like a couple like black kids that like went to like some MECO program we have, but it was like all white. It was like the most white neighborhood you can imagine. So that's where I grew up. I grew up not really going out that much. I was a real introvert when I grew up. My mom is one of seven aunts and uncles. They're all like, they all went to college, Catholic, Christian, whatever it was. And I was kind of the first person in my family to break the mold and like go into sales, do extroverted stuff, like not go down the typical engineer, science, STEM route that they all went down.
Right.
But yeah, I would say I'm pretty family centric. I grew up like my mom wanted me to be well-rounded. So I grew up like playing guitar, reading books. Whenever I do something cool, she'd be like, great, go to art class, let's cook. Like that's kind of how I grew up. And then I would say I started really getting into my extroverted extracurriculars when I got into college, maybe mid-high school. But yeah, pretty like well-rounded liberal upbringing. Let's say that.
Something that you just mentioned, which is sales. I'm curious, when did that, or how did that enter the picture? Doing sales and learning about sales.
100%. So, my first sales gig was being a sales associate slash like cashier at this place called Fuddruckers. It was like a burger joint that was it. You know, Jordan's Furniture. You know the dude with the ponytail. That yeah. That's the place that
I forgot to mention that I went to school. I went to BU, so
oh, that's so funny. I love that.
yeah, I remember seeing his ads all the time. Yeah,
Right. But yeah, that's where I worked. My mom is an engineer. My dad's an engineer. Four of my uncles are all engineers. My grandfather's an engineer. I'm just like, okay, they're pretty much successful whenever I go to like family dinners, holidays, whatever it is. That's all everyone's talking about. So in my mind, that was like the idea of success. Because whatever you're around, whatever the people that like look to talk a lot, you see reactions, you're like, okay, this is what like success should look like. So in my head, I'm like, great, I'm going to follow my mom and dad's footsteps and becoming an engineer. So like my highest score and my SATs in high school was like math and such. But my first experience where I realized I was good at selling was when I crushed every single sales record / I was a top sales associate at Fuddruckers for selling milkshakes. Like they would do specials and I would just like crush and I won every like $50 free meal cash record, whatever it was. I was in college. I went there for math first, and then I took summer classes to get into engineering. I was in a fluid dynamics class sitting down. Some kid who is one of my friends now, Ian McCarthy, walks in with a clipboard and just passes it around. It says, do you want to run a painting business out of your hometown? I'm like, all right, like, can I swear? Can I swear on this?
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck it. All right, I'll put my name down. Thought nothing of it. In my mind, I'm like, I'm going to become an engineer. I'm going to do like pumps, like job sites, whatever it is. I get a call, I think it's like 2 days later saying, hey, dude, you put your name down on a clipboard. Do you want to run your own business? I'm like, sure. And then it turns out that kid was my same exact major, my exact same age, but he was just a year above me because in terms of like junior, senior. And I'm like, all right, let's try this out. And that's what made me get my first like sales gig, running my own painting business out of Amherst, where I was going to college.
So painting stuff or selling paint or
So literally like driving around in a busted up Ford Focus like a broke college student with 4 ladders on my car, like with like streamlines and like duct tape and shit, driving around, like literally going to Sherwin-Williams, getting paint, waking up at like 5:30 a.m. to like put like ladders on a house and painting houses for homeowners, having high school students walk around, train them how to knock on doors, putting out flyers in my car, like 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., like in the freezing cold on mailboxes, like boots on the ground, just running a business in college. Yeah.
did you find? I have so many questions. First thing is, did it come naturally to you, or was it something where you struggled at first and you had to figure out some things, or was it just like boom, hit the ground running?
I always had high energy. And I think part of me not being an extrovert when I was in high school and middle school made me want to, I guess, make up for it by being like seeking people's validation when I was young. So wanting to like make people like me made me get good at sales. And it was like a momentum shift. And then, yeah, I just got good. I just got really good. It was just like feedback, implement, exactly like we do in MOA.
Okay, so that's my next question on this train is sort of, what do you feel are maybe the top 1 or 2 things that somebody should develop as a skill in order to be better at sales or maybe business in general?
Yeah, I would say literally getting reps in and learning to listen. Um when I was in sales originally at Student Painters, I was so excited to just like be in this community of guys that were like growing, self-developing, but I was not as good as I am now at sales. Like I talked like 4 times faster than I do now. I stuttered like every 4th word, and I was just copying what I saw. So I would get an idea of success like a mentor. I had like a mentor, an executive that was like teaching me what to do. I would see them and try to copy what they were doing, not knowing why it worked, but hoping what I did would work with like an ADHD brain, a motor mouth, just trying to make shit happen.
It's interesting that you say, because that's something, one of my mottos that these guys have heard 1,000 times. Anybody's ever interacted with me has heard is imitate then innovate, right? Like, and that comes from like I'm not going to date myself. I'm not going to age myself, but David D'Angelo back in the day, if anybody knows who that is, shout out David D'Angelo. That was one of his phrases, that smart people want to innovate, then imitate. And that's where they end up innovating. It doesn't work. And then they eventually go back to imitating first and then back to innovating. So it's interesting that you say that. That's really great, man.
So I have a question about the painting thing. Did you just paint exteriors, or did you do interior as well?
So because of the EPA and how big of a pain in the ass it is to like take out, because before I think it was 1978 or whatever the date was, where like if your house is pre 78, like you got to like scrape and sand, you can't like power wash the house. We didn't want to have like bad insurance claims for going into a house, having to scrape out all the like lead paint that could be in there. So we stuck to outside. Imagine college students that are like 2 weeks trained going into like a rich professor's house in Amherst and trying to like scrape paint off like their closets and just ruining their house. Like there's no way we were gonna do that with our business. So we just stuck to like the outside, because you can mess so many things up when you have college students working for you. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a company in my city. I'm in Toronto. I'm not going to give them free advertising, but that's what they do. Is they send out college kids. They give them these little beater cars. They throw ladders on top, and they go either power wash houses or repaint the siding and stuff like that. So
yeah, Public College Pro, we were student painters, young entrepreneurs across America. It was Public College Pro or one of the other ones. There was so many. Yeah.
cool.
So you're in Boston now. How long have you? So you've been in Boston this whole time, but I know from your Instagram they've been traveling all over the world. But what is Boston sort of like? Are you going to school in Boston, or are you just that's just where you are? That's your home base.
No, so I'm 26. I went to UMass from 2016 to 2021. I was a fifth year because I started in math and then added on engineering as a second degree my junior year.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just I might make it back up there, man. I'm not sure. There's a conference happening over from July 1st to 4th. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
In Boston or Amherst?
Boston.
Got it. Yeah. Don't come up here unless it's the summer. Like the best thing about Boston is the Italian food and like the bay. Like that's it. Come out when we're like doing boat parties and such. Like right now we're doing like ski themed parties, but like it's miserable up here unless we're connected. So
let's get into that, man. Because recently, well, first thing I want to ask you is so when does MOA and Michael Sartain enter the picture?
Yeah, okay, funny story. So I'll start with this. I didn't lose my virginity till my junior year of college. So I was going through a lot of like trial and error, like, why won't this work? Seeing like kids that I saw fucked, like with like backwards hats, playing hockey, like, what are they doing that I'm not trying to copy what they were doing and like having no idea like what they were doing? Why is what I'm doing wrong? Like doing all this shit. So I think it was my junior year. I was in my apartment and I'm just looking through like videos on YouTube about like Tinder pickup lines. I find this guy named Alex Valenchik who owns Playing with Fire, who I became a text game coach for like a year and a half. It was basically text game, fix your Tinder, all that kind of such. And I had no idea how to take a good photo. So it was a lot of trial and error. And it's like whatever like match I could get, I was just like, does this work? Does this not work? Please work. And then let me think. After I graduated college, I think it was 2022, Alex did a podcast in Miami with Alex. This is after I've been like a coach, and at this point, I'm doing what every guy that joins MOA has been doing. So cold approach, going out to bars, drinking green tea shots, approaching sixes and sevens, like burning money with no social circle, and just like trying to make stuff happen and like go home with chicks with like no game plan in mind. Reading pickup forums, like doing all this weird shit. And I'm like, oh, this kind of looks interesting. Female friends kind of make sense. Having no intention of buying, I click on a link. I'm like, okay, let's just check this shit out. Because I saw Anthony DeRico. I'm like, what the actual fuck? This dude's 5 foot with like all these models. And then I saw more testimonials, and I'm like, okay, there's something here I'm missing. I got to find out more about this. So I book a call. It's at like 5:30. So I go into like some breakout room at work. Tristan's like 8 minutes late to the sales call, and I'm just he shows me the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, this kind of makes sense.
Tristan Darshan, shout out. He's been on the show before. We'll put him in the show notes, his interview. But yeah, shout out Tristan. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Tristan's one of my best friends. Like, I go out with Tristan every single weekend in Boston. Like, we're literally like content buddies. We're inseparable. We're like a package deal with anyone that does like work with me in Boston. Anyway, I was ramping up in my sales job. So I was like in tech sales, like private equity, like making good money in my ramp. So I'm like, all right, it's only this much money. All right, screw it. Let's just try it out. Like to me, it wasn't like is this not going to work for me? It was like let's just try it out. So did that, and MOA was way cheaper than it is now. And yeah, joined, and 2.5 years later, here we are.
I think everybody who probably got an MOA has a similar story to what you're saying. I remember seeing Michael on PBD podcast. That's how I first, or no, Saucecast is where I first saw Michael. And I guess somehow, some way, from seeing him on there, I'm just cruising through Instagram like I normally do, and boom, there's the ad. And what is it? It's Michael with the chicks, whatever. And at that moment in time, let's just say you catch me at the right time. I'm like, man, things are not working for me. What's going on here? But what I find really amazing about the program, and the reason I really am supporting it and having people from the program on, there's the chicks and all that stuff, no doubt about it. That's a key component, and you will learn if you're a man, you will learn everything you can possibly learn from a real like evolutionary psychology, which was that's one of the main things I really liked. Excuse me. Excuse me. One of the main things I really liked was that it's not just like, okay, I mean, sure, it's somebody who's actually done, like, if you look at Michael and like his history, like he's done everything he says he's asking everybody else to do. So that's the first thing. And there's video, like there's proof, like right in your face. And the other thing was that I realized that like this dude has a lot of really, I mean, he knows a lot. He's read a lot. He's deep dived into all the like evolutionary psychology stuff, like all this really, really fascinating stuff. And when, you're in the program, you go through all that stuff. And then on top of that, you're taught how to like network, how to set things up so that you can build a really great social circle. And so I guess, was that what it was for you, that experience? Or were you so early that you were part of like, kind of like helping to, solidify what that was?
Yeah. So Alex, the guy who ran Playing with Fire, like I looked to him as a mentor in a way because he was just banging hot Latinas in Miami, and his text game to me was really good. What you mentioned about like Michael's like ability to just drop knowledge, his tonality, I'm like, what the fuck? Like he can just drop knowledge like that. He knows all these. Who the fuck is this guy? Like his ability to like to retain knowledge, drop like evolutionary psychology, like quotes left and right, talking about like meeting Ty Lopez, like guys that I saw on Instagram I never seen Alex ever meet or talk about. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I need to know more. And then once I saw the testimonials, it wasn't so much of a like I saw the attractive woman and I wanted that. It was more of a I saw what Michael was able to perform on the podcast, the knowledge he was able to drop, and then I saw like the things that his clients were doing. And it wasn't so much like, oh, I want to be around hot girls. It was I want to be around that. It was like a combination of like a bunch of attractive women with a dude that's 5 foot, like really nice Instagram photos that I had never taken in my life. That were like, could I take that? How would I take that? That's interesting. Let me learn more about that. And just hearing the depth of knowledge that Michael could go to in a conversation and how like he would break down things to make it understandable. Because like there are some people that are really good at doing, and then there are other people that are really good at teaching and coaching. And the way Michael breaks down and story tells to make things digestible for people that haven't done what he's done yet to understand it better, I'd never seen that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm hooked.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that. Like, because long time coming, but I finally have finished the core of the modules. I'm going back through all the live trainings and all that. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing I will say is that he explains things very clearly, very, very like, that's probably because of his military background, but like very like straightforward, but very concise and very detailed, but not boring you to death. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good point. So before we get into, because I want to get into all that stuff, but before we do, so you're in Boston now. You said you're going out with Tristan pretty regularly. What are you? So you're now an event host or VIP host in Boston. Is that accurate? And at a couple of different venues, I think.
So we call it that. We're not linked to any clubs. So we talk about perceived status and men of action. I basically have connects to every single from the last 2.5 years, and from Tristan working with like guys like Ty Lopez, hardcore closer. He's very good at talking to high status guys. He's just around Bill Zarian all the time. He's done that more than me. So what was the question again?
I guess it's just what's going on with you with that whole scene right now in Boston, and I wanted to ask you about hosting. That's kind of where I'm leading to is just
Hosting. You need to find clients if you work for the club, and that is annoying as hell. So I would rather just work alongside a host promoter, maybe get like a table through them or like hop on their table and just bring girls out and have the access through them. But the way we make that access easier is by appearing as an event host to girls, gals, guys, because then spenders will see me with attractive woman. They'll think I'm a host and they'll come to me and then I'll pass them to my host, make them very happy. and get more access to whatever. So Michael's talked about this, and I agree with him completely. If you're gonna do nightlife, don't be a host, because then you can't get like actual comps. But if you work with a host and not directly under the club under contract, you can kind of do whatever you want, and your network is like your glass ceiling.
Interesting. Wait. So I want to unpack this a little bit. So if you are a hired host because there are a lot of guys out there, they may get the idea, which is not a bad idea. Hey, let me be a VIP host at a club, and I can use that title and status to get whatever around me that I would need. Go out and get beautiful women or whatever to be in my circle. But you're saying, don't be officially the host at one of these clubs. Find the person who is. And then do whatever, and then that gives you the freedom to do whatever you need to do to bring value to them.
Exactly, 100%.
But why not be that person at the club again?
I don't want to find spenders. Like,
right? Okay, I see.
I don't have to like find girls to bring some thirsty ass dude. Like, if a thirsty ass dude's at the table that I'm at, I'll bring girls out, and then the beta will just like.
Right. Okay, I get it.
Michael has this funny saying, like, when a bunch of betas around a bunch of girls, like Crave Alpha. Like, I've read the Bible with so many girls by bringing them to tables with creepy guys, and then I just get laid from.
Just reading the Bible. You're doing Bible study.
Oh yeah, what I just say? Oh yeah. Just reading the Bible. Book club. Knitting. Normal stuff.
No, I think that's a really great tip for anybody watching. Like, build your social circle, but you can leverage that with clubs and stuff like that to be able to get access. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. What do you feel? I asked Tristan this. He gave a very clear answer, but what do you feel makes for a great event?
The hottest girls there.
There you go. Why is that? It's not just because they're hot chicks, which, hey, nothing against that, obviously, but what does that allow you to do?
So, having attractive women there makes guys that are rich want to go. It also creates a FOMO factor with pre-selection where other hot girls want to go where other hot girls want to go. So it's like this social snowball of when you get female friends, everything unlocks. When clubs get attractive women there and can show it consistently, everything unlocks. In a city, there aren't 10 places hot girls go. There's like maybe 1, 2, or 3 really trendy spots that all the hot girls go. Because like one of them's like 10 champions of banging one VIP host. Like all the bartenders, all the waitresses like know what's going on. There's one dude that like run like in Miami, it's David Grutman. In Vegas, it's Jason Strauss. Like those orgs and all that, like there are specific spots where all the hot girls know, okay, I want to go over here because I know I'm gonna have a fun time, and the guys that I want to get with and the girls I want to party with, I'll go here.
That's Whole Foods in Arizona.
Of course.
Hey, Whole Foods game. I mean, Michael, you're watching, man. We gotta figure out this Whole Foods game. I see hotties there all the time where I'm at, but some Whole Foods day game. All right, well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about men, women, dating, high status networking, that whole thing. So for you were saying you were an introvert, and then through sales you kind of opened up. But what do you think was maybe the one or two things that were like the keys that unlocked your sort of dating life with women? What are the one or two things maybe that you understood? Once you understood this, it was a total game changer, specifically when it came to dating and women and that type of thing.
It was pre-selection, and then it was getting girls to qualify about themselves. When I was in pickup, it was all these DHVs, what I say on the date. In MOA, it's like break rapport a few times, make them laugh, don't dress like a slob, be well groomed, and like work out a little bit, and then just get the girl to like talk. And like that was game changing.
Let's expand on that. So, and this seems counterintuitive, right? But because again, I'm not going to reveal my age. Y'all know I'm old. But back in the day with pickup, it was like you had DHV, display higher value, these little things you would do, these little tricks, the neg, all this shit, right? And a lot of MOA, which I like because it actually is more my speed. I think is it's not about you don't like convince someone through words that you have status or that you are cool or that you are these things. Instead, you're building your life, and then you're making sure that you present it a certain way. And one of those things might be like, or definitely is Instagram and that whole thing. But you're creating that sort of like you're displaying that value, and then when you meet somebody or when you're in the circle, you really don't have to do that much. You've kind of already set the stage for like who you are, what you're about. And I like it because even though some people say, oh, you're being inauthentic, and that's one of the rules, like social media is fake, and I'm okay with that. But I actually think that you can actually present yourself in a very authentic way, but you're displaying what you are, what is valuable about you, and then depending on how you want to tweak that, you can then, when you meet someone in real life, you don't have to do that whole well, let me run game on this chick, or let me talk to this dude about how awesome my business is. Instead, it's like they're going to ask you more likely than you having to say anything to them. I mean, do you agree with that? Like, hey, he did that until he didn't have to do that, which kind of proves that what's shown in Men of Action. I mean, what do you think? Like, is that accurate in terms of the difference between, say, a Men of Action type of system for improving your life and network, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, like pickup tries to teach you how to get girls while living in your mom's basement and sound like shit. Manifesto teaches you how to be a better leader and solve problems to increase your attraction. Like, say I'm around say I'm in an elevator for 30 seconds with the CEO. I'm gonna try to figure out what his PDE is and solve that. Not qualify for 50 seconds, get fame brain, get my eyes to light up like a fucking deer, and look like an idiot for 30 seconds. Like, if I'm in the thing with the CEO, yo, dude, that's an awesome suit. Where'd you get that tailored? Love that, dude. Hey, do you work around here? Oh yeah, man. What do you do? Oh, sick. Anyway, I do this thing that might be able to help you do X, Y, and Z. Where'd you go to lunch? Something like that. Find some way to connect. Like, that's what I would do if I was in like an elevator and I saw someone. Kind of like how Hard Knock School. He'll just go up to guys in Miami that look somewhat affluent, and they'll ask them, when did you become a billionaire? When did you become a millionaire? They'll just assume they're rich. But he's asking them about themselves to get them to talk to him.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I can, back in my LA, I call it my LA scumbag days. But we had startup stuff, and like there's so many people that would go to these like startup conventions, whatever places, hat in hand, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? And we had a strategy where it was like where one of the people in my startup, like they were a trainer, and they trained at Equinox, and so we got this like office above Equinox, and he would just work them because they're all like rich dudes at Equinox. And then he would bring up what like the startup we're working on, and then he would like call me and be like, he'd be like, red alert, like, fucking, you need to get over here. Like, I live like 5 minutes away. I could run over there. You need to get over here. We're gonna get in the office and like pitch this dude. It's like, oh shit, and then like I go grab my shit and then we pitch him. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like Michael does that in a much more efficient way, much more dialed in, and he lays it out. It's like it's deep, like how to do it properly. So, and if you're wondering like whether you should join MOA or not, if that's what you want, I mean, there's no better person to teach you. But I guess all I'm saying is that what you're saying is right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's much better to be homies with somebody and then go, okay, like let's figure out something we can do together than to just be some random person they don't know.
100%. Like, one of the easiest ways to meet guys that can invest in your startup, guys that could like further your life, is through your social circle and by like connecting on Instagram. When I started posting, we'll get to this later, like pre-selection photos, me with a bunch of girls, the people that would hit me up the most were other hot girls that wanted to go out, and then rich dudes that wanted those girls at their things. And when you're out, the scarcest resource, one of the hardest things to do that Michael teaches, is bringing like 3+, like 8+ quality girls out to an event. That's a very hard skill to master, because not only do you need like photos of women showing you compliance, you need to be comfortable around a lot of attractive women. And a lot of guys don't grow up like that. Like for me, I didn't grow up around like there were hot girls in my town and shit, but like I wasn't talking to them 24/7. I might have played football, but I was at the parties all the time with like the quarterbacks that were fucking all the cheerleaders. So like I learned that through Moa. Like Moa has put me around more attractive girls, like just in the proximity of to get reps around to have conversation with, to learn how they talk, how they what the PDE are, how they respond, like evolutionary psychology, than anything else in my life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's. I mean, you mentioned Instagram and that whole thing. Let's talk about that for a second. So one of the things that is talked about MOA is fix your fucking Instagram. And I can say that I'll just be honest, I've done minimal amount of fixing on my Instagram based on what MOA principles are, and it definitely has changed for me like so much. So can you speak on that? What is the importance of Instagram now? Is it essential that as a man you must dial in your Instagram and make it something great?
Yeah. So the scarce resource that all men want is young, attractive women that are not probably past, like Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't need date women past 25. So that scarce resource is like women, let's just say 19 that are really hot through like 27 to date them, right? They're all on Instagram. So to get that scarce resource, the asset that you need to maximize is how does she perceive me on social media, the app she is on the most. And all high status guys, promoters, like nightclub managers, guys that own like restaurants, guys that run charity events, Dan Bilzerian, just all the high status guys, movie stars, they're all on Instagram, besides Pete Davidson, I think. Instagram is the easiest way for you to show that you are a competent man, that you are a leader, that you have access to different things by just posting evidence. Like whenever we do invites, it's more evidence, fewer words. In pickup, it's more words, less evidence. Oh yeah, don't show her your Instagram. Don't show her your private Instagram where you look like a serial killer with 5 photos of you and 7 selfies. Like that's what pickup teaches. It's like, oh yeah, hide your stuff, manipulate her and neg her into thinking that you live in the penthouse in the city, not in your mom's basement, playing World of Warcraft, eating chips, which is what you're really doing. Like Instagram lays it all out there, so like there's no confusion of, wow, this guy brings out attractive women all the time. I have 10 mutual followers with him. My favorite playmate follows him. He's been in 9 spots in the city that I want to go eat at, and he does this all the time. This is someone that has been there, done that, who has battle scars, who I want to meet. And Instagram just piques the curiosity because you cannot deny IVE, you cannot deny evidence. If I have a picture with Dan Bilzerian, they don't know how I met him, they don't know what my relationship is. All I know is how the fuck did he meet Dan Bilzerian? I want to find out more. I want to meet him. So the curiosity that you build from perceived value is what makes Instagram so freaking like this makes you an assassin in your social circle.
Yeah, yeah. And by IVE, irrefutable visual evidence is what that stands for. So, and I would say this, like we got a couple of guys. We got DZ here. He's married. You know what I'm saying? He's not out trying to get all. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, he's not out trying to get all these young hussies. But
not unless he's trying to get murdered.
Yeah, but I mean, he's trying to build his network. He's trying to, he's got his chicken coops and stuff like that. And I think that no matter who you are out there, if somebody's watching, you're like, yo, I'm not, I'm happily married. I'm not trying to like, do whatever. I do think though that building up your Instagram and portraying what your ideal, what your ideal is, there's nothing wrong with that. Do that shit and use that in the way that you want to use it to be able to network with the people that you want to network. So, all right, well, we got to get to it, man. We got to talk about these women, man. What's going on with these women, Luke? Hypergamy is more hardcore than it's ever been. Do you agree? Is Elon Musk having 14 kids with 4 baby mamas? Is that the new norm? Is that what a man has to be now in order to get even a decent woman? You tell me.
Yeah, it's gotten harder and harder as technology gets better and better, AI gets better and better. For if you're not on that wave of like understanding Instagram, understanding access, you're falling behind. This isn't 1950 where you meet some like 10 that goes to your church in Utah and you marry her. That 10 is on Instagram because all her friends are on Instagram, getting DM'd by a Saudi prince or Drake if she's at that level to come out. There are people that work for like Drake, Tyga, all these like Dan Bilzerian 24/7, mining Instagrams. Like I have a VA that mines Instagrams for me. What do you like I'm 26 and I work a sales job in Boston. What do you think the best promoters, the best artists, like the guys that own the biggest things have access to in terms of finding these people, talent scouts, whatever it is. Like with the internet available, the ability to find like scarce resources like attractive women is so up here that the access that the average man has gone from like here to here in the last like 70 years, meaning that you need to keep up or you're going to fall behind. I think it's like in the last 10 years or something, or like the last year, between I think 1 in 3 men between like 18 and like 40 or have not had sex in the last year, like some ridiculous stat. And I think that it's probably gone up or down in the last 10 years, but it's definitely gone up because of Instagram. Because women don't think, what I've learned is that women don't think in terms of like, oh, you have all this money. They think in terms of what could this guy give me? What could this guy provide for me? What does he have access to that I don't have access to? What could life be like with him? So when they get a DM and an amazing offer, they're comparing that to what Jill from accounting can offer them. They're comparing that to some sous chef that like hit on them when they were getting Chipotle. Everything's a comparison game. Hypergamy is definitely real. So if you're not on the train of like putting in work, fixing your Instagram, and making yourself look the best version of yourself, because you don't think, oh yeah, she'll like me for me. That's not true. Girls see things and they get a feeling. This is why when we send out invites, we don't send a paragraph. We send out a video of attractive women because women aren't logical. They're emotional. So when they see an invite, they're not thinking this was so well written, Pulitzer Prize. Oh my God, what an amazing invite! This sounds so good. They're looking at the girls. Are these girls harder than me? Are they having more fun than me? Do I want to be here? Oh, I probably do. This looks great. Let's go. They're looking at the thing and they're getting a feeling and they're reacting off that impulsive feeling in the moment. So you need to curate that as best you can. Dating has definitely changed in the last 70 years. You need to be on Instagram if you want to get attractive woman. And when I say attractive woman, I don't mean what you think is a 6 or a 7 at your local mall. I mean the actual 9 or a 10.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's not to say that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's good women out there, solid women out there for sure. But I would say just at bare minimum, it's just sort of like, this is just kind of what it is. Like back in the day, you went and asked a chick out on a date and did that whole thing. And there was a system to it and it was understood by both parties and it kind of just went where it went. Now it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, for anybody who is in a great relationship, great. But I'm just saying like, it's for us single folks, us bachelors, got to put in some work. You got to present yourself a certain way.
I'd say it's the same for everybody, right? If you let yourself go, like this is how marriages die. This is how people end up breaking up because like even if you're say like working on your physical health every day, maybe you look your best, but if you just become a curmudgeon, you become a dickhead, like your wife's not going to want to deal with you, people aren't going to want to deal with you. Like again, I don't think that it is solely for single people. I think that everybody should be trying to be the best them at all times and trying to improve themselves. And like I think that's the greatest lesson of all this, in my opinion.
Yeah. One of my roommates, I used to do my podcast with, told me that, and I agree with him that like dating is a constant game. Like when you originally meet her, you attract her, but every single day you need to be like on your game. You cannot let yourself go at all. Like every day you need to be in the gym because she can lose that attraction towards you. It can't. Just because you get married doesn't mean it's locked in. You need to be in the gym. You need to be doing new things for her. You need to be keeping her on her toes. Because if a girl thinks that she is the best that you can do, her attraction goes down for you. So if she sees you constantly improving, that's going to put her in the chasing frame all the time and be not wanting to leave you because she's worried about you leaving her for somebody else. So that'll make her work harder when she sees you doing better.
I was also going to say the closer you can keep your personality to your true self, the better, so that you don't have to go play this like facade for such a long time and keep up something that you're not. So it's like if you're actually striving to make those qualities part of yourself is good versus like just acting a part, because you're gonna have to hold that part up a long time, you know, if you're planning to actually get somewhere. And then that's how things also fall apart. So
Well, I think that's like the problem with the game era, the pickup era, right? Is like you attract these women and even these like business associates with a facade, and you're not actively trying to make the facade real. Like, whereas I think kind of like the MOA thing is like you present this thing that you want to be and then you make it happen. With like the game and like this pickup shit, it's just like, hey, like let me present what I wish I could be, and I'll just keep pretending to be this thing until you catch on.
You know what's so funny about that? Most women that like say they're in the 20s and they go through like the hoe phase, right? They're getting with like toxic guys that like the bartender at the local thing, some toxic guys, and they're always saying, I can fix him. That's always a girl's mindset whenever they're dating in a relationship with somebody. So if she's dating you and she can change you, she's going to lose attraction. Meaning that if you stay your authentic self and you don't change the way you are when you met her, you're going to keep her attraction going. If she starts feeding you, you get fat, you become nice, and you start placating towards her because of the words she's saying, that's how you fall behind. Completely agree with what you're saying. We're like, you need to meet her and not without a facade, and then have that be the version that she sees you all the time in and never change. Improve, but don't change to what she wants.
Right. I mean, I want to, we brought this up with Tristan. All right. Tristan be saying status is a mindset, because you got some dudes out in Vegas, ain't got none of that stuff, ain't got no money, ain't doing. I mean, what's your thought on that? Is perceived status, especially from women to men, is perceived status just a mindset thing? Can you just be a dude who's like, I got it all and don't have anything and it's enough?
I think you can fake it till you make it, but you got to understand how status works, right? Like, say I'm at a club, right? And there's a clone of me to the table next to me with the same amount of girls. The guy that has a mindset that understands how psychology works, that posted on social media, is going to get more attention from women than the guy that does not post it on social media. Meaning that the content from the events that you do matters more than the actual event itself, because you want to invite to the next thing and create that mirror exposure. Status is like, it's like an umbrella. So like you could have a bunch of status by being Bill Gates. You could be a bunch of status by being a Denzel Washington, an actor. You could have a bunch of status by being really good looking, like the guy that Britney Spears is dating. You could have a bunch of status by being a basketball player. You could have a bunch of status by being really, really smart, like Elon Musk is. Like, status is an umbrella. And then you can be super famous, which is like the highest lever you can leverage for status. Like, that's status to the max is fame, which is what Bilzerian leveraged to get whatever he wanted. In terms of status being a mindset, I think you need to go in understanding how things work, and that's where suspension of disbelief and speed of implementation come in. So when I started taking the group photos, I had no idea if it was going to work. I'm like, okay, Michael's telling me to do this. Let me just do it. So I think the mindset is, let me see what's working and just copy it. And that mindset of needing to get better to just do what gets you results, as opposed to what feels good, is like a status mindset. I'm not sure what Tristan's thoughts were on it when he did the interview, but that's my take on like how to get to everything's perceived at the end of the day. Everything is perceived.
Interesting. Let's talk about content, because that's another part of, what MOA kind of pushes out there. I mean, I'll be honest, like I'm that introvert. I'm that guy. I'm that nerdy creative person. I'm like, I got to pull up my camera and I got to like film myself hanging out with a bunch of people and all this stuff. But kind of speak on that. What is the value of creating, I mean, I don't know if creating content is maybe the most glamorous way of saying it, but sort of presenting, what you do in your life and things like that. Like what is the importance of doing that, and how does that help you in different ways?
Content is the easiest way to demonstrate your competence without saying a lot of words. So I'm not writing an essay to someone. I'm going to to get me on a podcast. I saw that you interviewed Tristan, and I loved the interview. I was at Planet Fitness for an hour and a half. I listened to the whole thing. I'm like, this was a fucking awesome interview. Hell yeah, I'm coming on. So I saw evidence of what you had done rather than you describing how good the podcast was. When I invite for an event, I'm not looking at, oh, what's this person who I don't really know, who is private on Instagram, describing this event as. I'm looking at the DM they sent me with what it is, and I'm deciding for myself. Content is the easiest way to demonstrate performance, competence, how good something is without using words. Like if it's the easiest language to communicate in, which is, and it also saves you too. Like say I'm with a girl and I'm on a date with her and I take a selfie video, right? And like she's with me. And then she turns out to be like some like robber, some Brittany Renner type of thing. Oh yeah, hey Judge, here's a selfie video where she's following with me. Oh yeah, here Judge, hey Judge, here's this. Hey Judge, here's this. It's a self-preservation path, and also the method for you to show like what you can do, because you can't deny it. Like you can show some you can misinterpret words over text. You can't misinterpret videos.
Right. I mean, that was something in the recent, when you join MLA, there's, weekly sessions and I'm amazed that, I mean, Michael's on those. Like, I've done other programs where it's like, okay, the main dude ain't even there. Like it's somebody else he hired and they're running the show and you don't even know if they really are for real. So, I mean, shout out Michael for doing that. But something that has kind of been brought up is AI is coming, and I love AI. I mean, I use it all the time for everything. I mean, the show and all kinds of stuff. And so I'm a big fan, but something that was brought up was AI can be used to break into accounts. It can be used to do all kinds of crazy stuff. We saw what happened with Destiny recently. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but what did he do exactly? He filmed intimacy. He was having intimate relations with a young lady. He filmed it, and then somehow he lost possession of it. Is that what the story is, or did he share it, or?
I think he lost possession of it. Oh, my thoughts are, I know Michael showed Perplexity in the deep research function. It scrapes Reddit articles and such, and my guess is someone found it and it ended up in some Reddit subthread. I don't know if that's true. That's my guess, and that's how like it gets scraped. There's this thing called like where you can scrape like porn and like sugar daddy websites for people's faces to see if your girlfriend's on there. But that was probably it. That was probably it, as opposed to Perplexity. But like, dude, don't snitch on yourself. Don't snitch on yourself.
Ladies, if you have an OF, if you've ever had an OF, you thought I'd just try it out, throw a couple of feet pics up. Let me see if I can get some $50 here or there. It's on the internet. The AI will scrape it. They will find it. And when you meet that multi-billionaire virgin Christian man who wants a pure woman, he's going to run the AI. He's going to find it, and you're done. You're donezo. So don't do it. All right.
Exactly. No, I'm completely agreement. Don't snitch on yourself. Like, literally, do stuff in person and film everything. Simple rule.
Improve your memory. Get the Neuralink. All right. Let your memories be your record.
Oh yeah, the next phase is going to surgery and getting some Neuralink, so I can.
Hey man, you were once saying you wanted Limitless. Are you getting that Neuralink? Is that what's going on, Luke? What are we doing?
Melt the seal on that.
Sign up for the initial trial.
NDA.
All right. Well, listen. I want to ask you some things about the culture, man. Just in general, the culture. Is masculinity making a comeback?
I think okay, so I don't know if it's making a comeback. Certain people are bringing it back, in my opinion. So like Andrew Tate getting super famous 2 years ago when he was on TikTok, that brought a new voice to what masculinity should be. Donald Trump in office now is bringing a new, like he's 70 and like people are making memes about him left and right, but I think he got voted for because of the way he carries himself and like charismatic, really good at business, etc. I think masculinity is making a comeback, and I think with more access to the internet, AI, and such, more people are getting access to like stuff like MOA, the pickup forums. Like back in the day, like you had to like go down a fucking rabbit hole to get like a boot camp with mystery. Like you have to go down like 5 different forums. Now it's like you see ads left and right for like dating coaches, improving self-improvement. Like as technology gets better, our access to random information in different holes gets much easier. So I think as time goes on, access to information that you might be curious about is going to pop up easier because they're listening. Like anything I'm talking about right now, I'll probably see an ad for it on my Instagram later on because they're always listening. So I think like these conversations, how better marketers and like are getting at like saying, oh, what did this recording say? How can I transmute this to like show them the right ad? That kind of system, like that generates money. I think masculinity is becoming like people like Jordan Peterson and like Charlie Kirk making like the political side of masculinity more and more well known. I think that kind of content being put out there and people's access to technology is making people more aware that people talk about it more.
I mean, men apparently were a huge voting bloc that got Trump in. So I think that at the very least, there's a lot of men that feel like they want their voices heard. Put it that way, maybe.
100%.
Are you? What are your plans, man, for the future? I saw this Aquadex thing. Is that something that you're promoting actively, or is that I don't know. I don't know what that is exactly, but
So that's my business partner who I met through MOA and we have an AI marketing agency. So we started it separately December of 2023 and we partnered up this past winter because he's very good at the tech stuff, which I hate. I'm good at the sales stuff. So he was doing both. And he was like, bro, like if we partnered up, we could do this so much faster. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So now we work together and we find clients. He handles like the back end. I handle the front end.
can you describe it real quick? Like how exactly does it work?
Yeah. So, let me ask you this: how often do you read your texts? Like, say you get a text from someone. Like, how quick are you to like read it? At least read it.
I would say, me personally, I'm such a I can't stand seeing that red dot or whatever, or like, so I'll read it most things immediately. Yeah, I read immediately.
How often do you read emails?
I check both email and text daily. I don't all read all my emails though. I'll look at the headline, and if it's something that's I don't really need to look at, I won't ever click on it.
Right. When I have my phone on D&D half the day, but I'll check my texts so often. So we have an SMS AI marketing agency that uses texting to turn local businesses like spas, chiropractors, massage places, turn their like lead lists and phone numbers into new clients. So you know how you'll get like a text saying, "Hey, this is Jimmy from like the gym. We're having this amazing offer. Like press yes if you want to get it." And it looks like it's coming from like Stephanie, the front desk lady. It looks like it came as opposed to like some like flash like message. That's what we're doing for local businesses to help them get more money. So we're using SMS, which is the most read thing, like I just told you guys, to have their like maybe someone filled in a form, didn't show up for an appointment. Maybe someone showed interest, or maybe someone hasn't come in a while. We're sending out offers to them to get them more revenue coming in, and then we just have a recurring revenue model.
What is the AI part? Is where it just does that automatically, or is it like a client? How does that work?
So it's Go High Level. I don't know if you've heard of that, where it has AI in it, but it's essentially like a like a low code. There's like workflows in it where you basically send out messages. There's like basically like workflows of like first message. If they respond yes or no, this happens. If they respond yes or no, this happens. And then there's a whole back end that shows the contacts. It's basically like build your own CRM and then use AI to text the leads and have them convert.
Okay, well, damn, we got to start a Goat Show phone line. Is that what we got to do? A hotline? Use some of this tech. Actually, if people could get a text notification that a new show is dropped.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe you get the GOAT quote of the day, bro. And then every time an episode drops, it also gives you the episode.
Oh, shit. And an episode summary, maybe? Like AI makes the episode summary and sends it to you? I might need to talk to you more about this, Luke.
I mean, dude, AI is so good now. Like transcripts for videos. Like you don't need a VA for that anymore. Like they have Opus.ai. I'm not sure if that's the right one, but like
I fucking hate Opus, bro. I honestly want to
Take it fresh.
If Opus had a face, I would punch it. It's so
Brett, don't burn the bridge, man. In another 6 months, they might have it all dialed in. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm not against them fixing it. I'm all for a good redemption arc.
I will say this. I mean, for our descriptions and stuff like that, grab the transcript. I have a whole, kind of script in Chat GPT that I do, and that gets all the information and everything. And, I mean, yeah, it's a total game. All y'all out there, you got to use AI. I'm sorry. You can't be a Luddite unless you're going to be like hanging out in Idaho somewhere on a farm. Even then,
There's a little shoe repair guy. He's got a booth size building in a parking lot of a grocery store. This guy is using AI to generate leads.
Yep, that's the way.
Like he's like an 85-year-old man who fixes shoes, bro. Like you can't if that guy's outworking you with AI, like you're kind of. I mean, I don't feel bad if you get left behind.
Like what blows my mind is that the depth of knowledge you can use with Perplexity. Like ChatGPT was kind of cool. Like, oh yeah, like scrub this article and give me some takeaways. Like Anthropic is great. Like, hey, write me some copy for this email. But Perplexity with Grok, live scraping Reddit, Yelp articles, and finding in-depth information about like Ty like Michael was at like dinner with Ty Lopez the other day. He was talking about, oh yeah, I just asked it about like its mom. It couldn't give me jack shit. I put on deep research and I get in-depth research about each family member. Like, good Lord, that's crazy. That's like, you gotta be doing that 4 times a day to at least stay on top of shit.
yeah. I've been playing with Perplexity for some research stuff, and it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. Anytime I have like a knowledge, because anytime I want to get something done, if you haven't done it, like if it's not a habit for you yet, there's always like a tiny knowledge gap of like, what's in the next thing I do right after this? Perplexity is like the best thing for that. Like, I can't go and bake a cake right now because I don't bake a cake every single day. I probably have the stuff for my house. I probably have like the utensils, but in order for me to do it, I probably have to ask Perplexity. Hey, I'm a complete beginner. I don't know what I have in my kitchen. I'm kind of hungry right now. I might want to bake a cake. Can you help me find a high protein cake recipe that kind of tastes like cheesecake and help me find the stuff from my kitchen? You type that in, give it 5 minutes, and it tells you exactly what to do step by step. Like, that's the crazy part about it.
Yesterday, I was eating some good meat, some good steak, and I was like, where can I, when I'm 60 and I want to retire, I want to live that homestead life, call it DZ. I want to live that homestead life. I asked it, where's the best place in the country to grow grass-fed meat, raw dairy, and then I threw in a little honey too. I was like, I want a little bit of organic honey too. Where can I do that? And turns out it's like where I'm in Florida, it's like literally Central North Florida is the best place from what Perplexity is saying. And it showed all the deep research and data, the sources, and it did everything from like grass to soil to temperature to water, humidity. I mean, it was crazy. It was like, all right, this is the future. So, and also, don't take it from me, but you can use it to find the hottest chicks in Jacksonville.
You probably didn't see this on my Instagram. I love cooking steaks, dude. Like, I've been on the carnivore diet since like December.
Oh, nice. How you feeling?
Love it. Like, I've simplified my life. So like I used to have this like crazy diet when I went in. I buy like salad, like 7 different things. When I go in now, I buy eggs, egg whites, butter, and steak, and I leave. It makes my life so simple.
I mean, I'll tell you what. If I was just living on my own, I'd do that. But my grandma, she's still cooking them good Indian foods.
Oh, for sure.
When I see that gravy on it, I'm like, I can't just go raw. But in LA, I did it for a while, and I really did like it. And I'll probably get back on a.
It makes your life simple, and it makes you.
It's for everyone, bro. It's for everyone.
I used to never eat meat rare. After doing the carnivore diet and my buddy cooking it, I'm like, I'm never going back. I'll cook my shit for like 7 minutes, and I'm like, let's go, let's eat it.
Just rip it out the cow, man. Let's go.
Listen, if it can't still moo, I don't want it.
Cool, man. Well, listen, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Luke, man, appreciate you coming on. That was fast. That was great. That was awesome. And for anybody out there who, you're hearing what we've been talking about, and maybe you're curious, you want to dive a little deeper into what this whole Men of Action thing, MOA thing is. We'll have a link in the show notes for you to check it out. So just click on that link, and I think we'll put together. I was thinking about this we should put together like a playlist for all the MOA stuff, because we've interviewed a bunch of people from it by this point. So probably put together a playlist so people can see that. But yeah, man, thank you for being on the show. As we do at the end of every show, we like to toast the goats, and you're a goat, my friend. So cheers to you. Cheers to the future.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Salud.
Cheers.
We also like to pour one out. You know, we do pour one out. I'm pouring one out for anybody who's not using AI to do shit. I'm sorry, you're a Luddite. You're crazy. If you're not using AI, we're going to surpass you. We're going to be the hyper intelligent, blue methylene, Neuralink taking superior species, and y'all are going to get priced out of the
Human
market.
2.0.
Human 2.0. So anyway, thank you, Luke, for being on the show. Fresh, before we leave, what do the goats out there got to do?
Bro, send it to everybody and fix your face and pay attention.